While Melbourne boasts the world's largest tram network, Sydney's once mammoth system consisted of 300 kilometres of track, transporting 400 million passengers annually, with 1,600 tram cars spread out from Narrabeen to Lapperouse and Bondi to Ryde, serving everywhere in between. Nearly a century ago, Sydney's tram network was a pivotal force in the rapid growth of the city, only to be abruptly dismantled in favour of buses and cars, leaving behind faint traces of its former glory. This is the story of how George Street was traversed in the past, uncovering the forgotten destinations of those hundreds of old trams and the modern transformation of this historical route. This is Trams of George Street. I am at Sydney's famous Opera House, which for many years was the terminus of any tram arriving from George Street. This site was originally Fort Macquarie, a defence fort built in 1798 that much resembled a castle. This fort was demolished in 1901 and Fort Macquarie Tram Depot was built in its place, keeping the castellated design over the whole building. The depot was an important layover point which relieved congestion at Circular Quay. Circular Quay, in fact, was Sydney's busiest tram interchange, with 28 routes terminating at and passing through the almost unrecognisable Alfred Street. It is here that we join the modern light rail line as it curves onto the star of the show, George Street. 9 tram routes utilise George Street to travel from Fort Macquarie and Circular Quay before embarking to destinations across the city. Officially known as the Western Lines, these routes collectively earn the name the George Street Lines because of the common route that they shared until Railway Square. Venturing through a total of 20 suburbs, these lines connected the heart of Sydney to the outer reaches of Five Dock, Abbotsford, Leichhardt, Lilyfield, Birch Grove, Balmain East, Glebe Point, Drummoyne and Ryde. Along the way, the trams passed through suburbs like Rozelle, Pyrmont and Gladesville. Just by travelling down this single road made it clear that this expansive network was beyond impressive, a fitting feel to Sydney's original main road. As tram travel gripped the city, a parallel surge in popularity was unfolding on the heavy rail network, masterminded by John Bradfield. The City Circle, a monumental project, was gradually unveiling its stations, poised to create a pivotal link between the trains and the trams of Sydney's CBD. Embarking on a southward journey from Circular Quay, passengers could seamlessly interchange to the new train station at Wynyard, which opened in 1932. The station's surroundings boasted luxury hotels, towering banks, impressive restaurants, and upscale shops, transforming the area into a magnetic hub for diverse activities. Not far down the street, the George Street lines crossed over King Street, which was one of the CBD's only east-west streets to carry tram tracks. Here it was possible to jump on board the lengthy route that travelled between Darling Harbour and Watson's Bay. This enabled trips as long as Ryde to Watson's Bay to be possible on only 2 trams. This important connection was also not far from the grand Queen Victoria building, a cathedral-scale marketplace that is still used as a shopping centre today. Trams stopped right outside its doors, allowing for an easy link to the marketplace from most of the city. If passengers were to stay on board their trams for a short period longer, they would be able to alight at the second train station on George Street, Town Hall. Opening at the same time as Wynyard, Town Hall Station serves the Sydney Town Hall, as its name suggests. Much like the rest of George Street, the Town Hall and its surrounds are filled with beautiful heritage-listed buildings that can always be seen with a number of admirers taking in the impressive architecture. Town Hall was Sydney's most popular major venue until the Opera House opened in 1973. Trams once again stopped at the doors of the impressive location, and the train station was located directly underneath, a perfect connection for all visitors. Departing southbound from Town Hall brings the George Street lines to Railway Square. Railway Square was Sydney's second major tram interchange, which also doubled as the interchange with Sydney's Central Station. Railway Square was an incredible show of organised chaos, with tram lines not only from the Western Lines and George Street, but also most of the southwest and southeast tram lines arriving here also. An uncountable amount of different journeys would have been made here, between the trams and the trains over the decades that this interchange existed in that form. Today, Railway Square exists as a large and rather dilapidated bus interchange which links Central Station to many of the locations that were previously served by trams. The modern light rail does not pass through here, however. Instead, it diverges from George Street at the northern end of Central Station to continue its journey towards Moore Park. The Western Lines would take their official name here and head west down Broadway to their destinations, a trip that you can still make today by buses, as there are a number of routes that directly follow the old tram lines, such as the 438X to Abbotsford Wharf, the 470 to Lilyfield, or the 441 to Birch Grove, as well as many others. When looking down the traffic-flooded and car-dependent road of Broadway, it can leave you wondering if Sydney's new light rail network will ever, or even could ever, link Sydney's suburbs together the way that the tram network once did. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching.